All right. Assalamu alaikum. Mr. Islam Answers back here with another live show. Uh, like we've mentioned, we're going to see if we can get a couple of shows in per week, at least maybe 2 or 3 per week. So this is going to be what we started. We had a show on Sunday, where we had it on Friday, Sunday, and today on Monday. We'll do another show again this coming Friday. All right, so let's get into it. All right, let's get into it here. All right, let's see here. Let's spread the words. All right, let's put the word out that the show has begun. All right, let me go ahead and send out a couple of quick tweets and Facebook posts to everyone. Let them know that we are on the air right as we speak. All right, so while we give everybody a chance to get into the room, let's go ahead and we're going to put out a couple of quick tweets and Facebook posts here and let everybody know that we are live on the end. If you could do the same thing on your end too, just send out a tweet, or if you're on Facebook or Instagram, whatever, let everybody know to check in on the show that we're live on air. YouTube Live, Mr. Islam Answers Back. All right. So let's go ahead and send some quick tweets. Let everybody know we are live on the air. And again, if you can do the same on your end, that would be greatly appreciated. All right. Send out some tweets. Let them know that we are live on the air, and tell them to come check us out. Tune in. Tell them to check it out. Tell them to check us out. Tell them to check us out. All right, so let me do a quick tweet on Facebook, Twitter. Here's my Twitter. I'm going to let them know we're live right now. Live right now. Join us and discuss. All right. And let me send another quick one on Facebook. And again, this also gives everybody a chance to get into the room, right? So while everybody's getting in the room, we get started. And let me send that tweet out again one more time. Let everybody know we are live on the air. They can tune in right now, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Today's topic and subject. All right. Okay, good. We got a lot of people here watching the show. Good. Welcome. Welcome, most staff. Welcome to the room. Welcome any others. Let's see. Before we also get in, let everybody know that once again, as I always tell you every show, if anybody wants to make a donation during the show or after the show, by the way, yeah, you can make, if the show is over and you come in, you watch the show on another day and you still want to make, you can still make a donation. Doesn't have to be during the show. It can be made anytime. But if you want to donate during the show, the links for the donation are in the information section of the video. All right. All the links are right there if you want to donate to the show directly. All right. They're right in the information section. Like I said, we prefer that. We prefer that because, as I mentioned before, the donation comes directly to us, and we get it right away. If you use the super chat, you can. I'm not saying that you can't use it, but if you use the super chat, just be aware that it takes 30 days for the donation to be given to the YouTuber, and YouTube takes a percentage of it. So if you want your brother to get the whole full donation that you send, it's preferable to use the donation links in the information section of this video and all my other videos as that goes. Okay. If you'd rather make a contribution by buying one of my products, you can do that. I have the book, He Never Was God, How Scripture Shows Jesus Was Fully a Man and Not God. You can buy the book in the link section. You can also get our DVB on Taqiyya, the lie they made against Islam. If you prefer to make a donation or contribution that way, you can do that. You can get one of those, or you can just make a donation directly without, getting anything, without getting a product or whatever. Either way is acceptable. Either way is fine. And I thank you for whichever way you choose to make your donation. Okay. Let's see. Yes, Muhammad Zakaria, we understand. We understand. Okay, so speaking on that, let's go ahead and talk. Well, I don't not necessarily that the Muslim that I'm talking, well, the ex-Muslim. If I don't know, matter of fact, that's the thing. This Annie lady, this Anni Cyrus, this Anni Cyrus woman, I've been trying to find some more information about her, but right now there doesn't seem to be too much. I was trying because usually, these people you can find some information that exposes them, but perhaps she's not that popular yet. Perhaps she's not that popular. She's been a part of all these different groups. She was part of this. I don't know if she's still part of this group known as the I think it's the Glaskov Gang or something like that. It's called the Glaskov Gang. They're not a real gang. That's just the name. That's just the name of the organization. And then I seen her as we saw last week, or the last show we did, where she's part of the American Truth Project. And then I see her, she has a page by herself. And like I looked at these pages, but like I don't know, like the videos that were made, at least by her, were made some months ago. So maybe she's not as maybe she's not as popular as she is. Although I have seen her on other shows. I saw her on what's that guy's name? Crowder, Steven Crowder or whatever. I seen her on his show. So she's getting a little bit of traction, but I haven't seen her like, I haven't seen her on Fox News or CNN or anything like that. So, maybe she has some popularity, but not quite fully there yet. So I haven't found anything that exposes her story or anything like that. Because she claims that she's an Iranian, and supposedly she was, tortured in Iran, and she was going to get stoned to death or all this stuff like that. And then she escaped somehow. Somehow she escaped and she came to America. So I don't know. I'm trying to find information to find out if anything verifies her story or not. So far, I have not seen it. It's just her talking, and every information that I found about her, it comes from hater site, bunch of anti-Muslim sites and videos and stuff like that. So I haven't found any like independent sources that either confirm her story or deny her story. But we'll give it some time. We'll see. We'll see if she even gets that famous. I don't know. But as you saw from our last video, if she does not get famous, you would understand why, right? If you find out that she falls off and nobody hears about her anymore, then it's probably due to the fact that, as you saw in our last video, her information is very horrible. Her information is very poor. We exposed at least 10 or 20 lies throughout her video. So maybe the people who are listening to her, maybe they found out that, her story, her information is not reliable. So they kind of ditched it. Because like on the American Truth channel, like I looked at some of the videos, and some of the more recent videos, she's not in them anymore. They don't even have her, like I don't see her doing any more videos anymore. So maybe, maybe they were like, you know what? Again, I'm speculating right now. I can't say for certain, but I just noticed that, excuse me, that I don't see her anymore in any of the more recent videos on that channel. And then, like I said, she has all these different stations. She's on the Glaskov, and same thing with them, with the Glaskov gang. She was in some videos, and then now most of the recent videos or whatever the latest videos they have, she's not in them anymore, right? She's not in them anymore. So, again, I don't know, if she fell off or they were like, you know what, Annie, your work is not good, or I don't know, but I haven't seen her. Then, like I said, then from there, she's part of the American Truth Project, and she's the national director. So I don't know if she left the Glaskov gang and then started the American Truth or something. Because on that video we did the other day, Sunday, it said that she was the national director. Now I see the more recent videos and she's not there. Then I saw she had her own channel, just Anni Cyrus. That video, all the videos in there are like at least 7 months old. So, so I don't know what's going on. But like I said, if she falls off and loses her popularity, I would not be surprised, and you wouldn't either, right? Based upon the video that we did the last show and the video we're going to do today, you could probably understand why they might want to distance themselves from her, because her so-called scholarship, if you can call it that, is poor. It's very poor. She's a blatant liar. Her information it's easily refutable. Easily refutable. Okay? So let's go ahead and load up the next video from her. Okay? We're going to load up the next video from her, and you're going to see again another bold-faced liar, ignorant, missing either. Like I said, and I don't give her the benefit of the doubt. I'm putting her as a bold-faced liar. You know what I mean? Bold-faced liar. So let's see. The one that I saw was let's see. Truth behind the mosque. We're gonna deal with that. It's a real short video, and then we'll deal with her video where she's talking about Sharia law in America, how it affects one's life in America. All right, let's see. So the truth behind a mosque. Okay, let's see here. Truth behind the mosque. All right, here we go. Right now, this video is old. This video is 1 year old. Okay, it's 1 year old.
There is a mosque in every.
This video is 1 year old, so I'm going to put it up so we can all see it. All right, and then we will address it step by step like we did. Okay, so let's do that right now. Okay. All right, sorry about that. Let's see. There we go.
There is a mosque in every state in our union, and over 1,200 mosques within our borders.
Well, the 1,200 mosques that Mr. Obama constantly refers to very proudly, what it means is that, well, basically when there's a mosque built in any area.
All right, so there we go. All right, so let's get that rocking and rolling first. Okay. All right, so let's so we're going to start it from the beginning, right? We're going to take it from the beginning, and we're going to take it step by step. Okay, what's the brother? Hey, welcome, brother Shazad Ali. Welcome, brother. How are you? Good to have you back. Good to have you back. I don't know. We'll see. But let's go ahead and take a look at this video. Again, the name of this video is "The Truth Behind a Mosque." Basically, what she's saying is, the truth. Basically, like when a mosque is built, she's basically saying, like, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean when a mosque is being built? All right, that's basically what she's saying. So in other words, she's trying to say that when a mosque is being built, it's obviously some kind of sneaky, underhanded plan or something, something of that sort. You understand? That's what she's claiming. Okay, she's claiming that that's what happens when a mosque is built. That's what's going on. It's a sneaky, underhanded claim, right? I love it. All right, so you ready? Let's get into it. Here we go. Here we go, everybody. Let's take it from the beginning. Oh wait, let's take it from the beginning. All right. All right. So it starts off with a thing of Obama talking about how there are mosques in America. Take a listen. Here we go. Ready? Let's go.
There is a mosque in every state in our union, and over 1,200 mosques within our borders.
Well, the 1,200 mosques that Mr. Obama constantly refers to very proudly, what it means is that, well, basically when there's a mosque built in any area, it's not just a holy place for Muslims to go and do their prayers. No. When there is a mosque built, it's a sign of conquer. So that area has been conquered by Sharia.
Okay, now everybody knows who's a Muslim. You know that, right? What you just heard right now is a bunch of garbage, right? We all know. First of all, what she's saying doesn't even make sense. How could we build a mosque somewhere and it's a sign of conquer when we're under the control of whatever country we built the mosque in? So the masjids that are here in Atlanta, does that mean Atlanta has been conquered by the Muslims? How, when the Muslims have to get a building permit? The Muslims have to get a building permit from the city of Atlanta to build the mosque. If we conquered it, wouldn't we be able to just build the mosque without any permission from anybody? Wa alaikum salam, connect, right? Right? Now you heard what she said, right? According to her, when a mosque is built, it's a sign of that the Muslims, that area is conquered by Sharia law. So if it was Miss Anni Cyrus, then why do the Muslims have to get a building permit from the city of Atlanta? I'm saying Atlanta because I live in Atlanta. I used to live in New York. When I lived in New York, same thing there. Every mosque that I've been to in New York had to get permission from the city, whether it was the city of Brooklyn, city of Wyandanch, city of West Islip, West Babylon, Queens, New York, Bronx. I lived in Virginia. We had to get a mosque building permit from the city of Hampton, city of Norfolk. Wherever there's a mosque at, every mosque that's built has to get permission from who? The people in power, Miss Ann. So if this is a sign of conquering, then why do the Muslims get permission from the city to build the mosque in the first place? If it's a sign of conquer, Miss Anni Cyrus. You know why we have to do that? Because what you just said is a complete lie. That's why. That's why the Muslims, that's why what she just said is a complete lie. That's why the Muslims, even in the UK, right? When you brothers and sisters in the UK, when you turn a building or build a masjid, don't you have to get permission from the city of London or the city of Loughton or whatever cities you got out there? Don't you got to get permission, right? Don't you got to get a building permit, occupancy permit, inspections, all this stuff, right? If it was a sign of conquering, you would just build it. You would just say, you know what, we conquered, we're building. No, you got to get permission. So what she said is nothing more than a bunch of, this is, as I said in the last show, this is a bunch of fear mongering, right? Wa alaikum salam, James Matai, welcome. Proud Muslim, welcome. Assalam. Otto, my brother, welcome. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, this lady, she's crazy, right? So as you heard, there you go. That's lie number one, right? So somebody keep track of the lies like we did last show. So there we are with lie number one, that the mosque is a sign of conquering. And where's that? I never read that. Once again, Miss Ann, if you ever see this video, just like I asked you in the last video, I'm going to need proof. We're going to need evidence for what you're saying. Can you please provide the Quranic verse that says when you build the masjid, it's a sign of conquering, that you conquered that place, right? Please provide the evidence for this, because I've never seen this or heard this. And as I said, what you're saying can be easily seen as a lie. Just the fact that Muslims, when they do build the masjid or a mosque, they have to get permission. They have to get permission to build it. In any city in America, Obama just said we have 1,200. Well, all 1,200 masjids, Miss Anni Cyrus, each one of those masjids had to get permission from whatever city or state that they're built in. You see, needs to get, yeah, exactly, Otto. That's exactly what I see this is. A lot of, and they get money from this. That's what I'm saying. This is famous, brothers. That you can get famous, brothers and sisters. If you are a person of low integrity, and you want to get some money, brothers and sisters, just pretend you're an ex-Muslim. Just pretend you're an ex-Muslim. You'll get book deals. You'll get money to be on TV shows. They'll give you money to start an organization. You'll get money to speak at colleges and universities. It's a very profitable business. Yeah, you'll get fame. Exactly. Not only that, not only will you get the money, but you will also get fame. You'll become famous. So this is what she's doing. She's another person trying to get fame. Because like I said, I'm going to keep looking for her story. So I'm going to keep looking. And if anybody else can look too, help me out. Do some research on your end. And let me know if you find anything about her story. Is it true? Is it false? Because I haven't seen anything that confirms her story. Right? I haven't seen anything that confirms her story. If she allegedly was on death row in Iran and she was tortured and she escaped and all this stuff. Well, I bet you she didn't escape nothing. She probably got on her plane, looks like everybody else, free of her will, and came over here. And then she came with this story. Because a lot of these people have been exposed as frauds. Wali Shubat, Ergun Kanner, Kamal Salim, all these so-called ex-Muslims who've been tortured and went through hardships, all of them have been exposed as liars. Right? They've all been exposed as liars. But yeah, you're right. I don't think she's I don't think she's gonna last too long. If she already may be done, brother. Because like I said, I've already looked to see if there's any recent videos from her, and most of the videos are old. They're like several months old, so she may have already died out, bro. Because if this is who they're putting their trust in, look how easy it is to expose her lies. Look how easy it is to expose her lies. So she's just going to embarrass these people. If they put her out in the forefront, she's just going to embarrass them, right? She's just going to embarrass them because her scholarship is so terrible. All right. So that's lie number one. So again, everybody, her first lie was that when a mosque is built, that means that that area has been conquered, and that is a complete lie. And anybody who wants for proof, the proof of it is that the fact that the Muslims had to go to the city or the state to get a building permit, occupancy permit, inspections, etc., in order to build that mosque. That's the proof that what she said is a falsehood, that a mosque being built does not mean that that area is conquered. If it was conquered, we wouldn't have to get permission, right? We wouldn't have to get permission from the non-Muslims who run the city or the state to build the mosque. We would just say, you know what, we beat you, we conquered you, we're building. But no, Muslims comply with the city codes and city ordinances and building permits and building inspections. So she doesn't know what she's talking about. She doesn't know what she's talking about, okay? All right. All right. We got a troll. You know, I forgot. Let me see. How can I make people mods? Let's see. Manage moderators. Participants. Okay. Let's see. Is there a way for me to okay, cool. All right. I can select people as moderators. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Shazad, I'm gonna make you a moderator, okay? Shazad, can I make you a moderator? Bro, let's see, how do I do that? What do I do? How do I make people moderate? Okay, well, I don't know how to do this stuff. Oh no, that means participants in the show, right? Okay, that means participants in the show. How can I make people moderators? Let's see here. All right. Okay, that's what we're trying to find out. I don't know, I have to figure that part out, how to make people moderators. Let's see. Manage moderators. Manage moderators. Okay, let's see. Are these the people all in the room right now? So what do? I pick people, hidden users? Let's see, those are hidden users. Won't show up. Okay, those people, no, okay, that's not, how do I, all right, I'm gonna have to figure this out. I don't want to take too much time. We'll figure it out, though. We'll figure it out. To approve users, use the flag menu on the comments page. All right, I'm sorry, brothers and sisters. I don't want to take up too much time. We'll have to figure it out. We'll have to figure it out. Have I seen David Wood's last video? No, I haven't. No, I haven't. Because I've been checking out. I've been trying to see what Annie has been talking about. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's continue. Let's continue. Wa alaikum salam to everybody who just came in. Any newcomers to the room? All right, no problem, James. No problem. No problem. All right, so let's go. Let's finish what she has to say. Here we go.
So, come to think of it, we have 1,200 areas lost to Sharia already. Okay,
that's the next thing. Is that she said this also means that that area has been lost to Sharia, which is another lie. Which is another lie. any mosque or masjid that is in the United States or the UK, or for that matter, any non-Muslim country, is not under Sharia law. Nobody in that masjid can make judgments, like Islamic punishment laws, or punish somebody Islamically or anything like that. None of them have this jurisdiction. So again, what she's saying is lying, complete lie. What does she mean they're under Sharia law? The only parts of Sharia law that they'll be under is what? Is the prayers. That's basically about it. Is the 5 daily prayers. Other than that, they can't exact any like inheritance laws or anything like that, or any legal punishments for crimes or stuff like that. So what is she talking about? What is she talking about? You know what I mean? Like what in the world is this woman talking about that has been lost to Sharia? Oh boy, let's continue. That's lie number 2, right? Lie number 2.
Now, when he says that, a lot of people are taking it as, well, he's being fair, he's not racist, so he's a good president. No. He is referring to the fact that we are almost there. We have enough conquered area that we can just bring in more and more Muslim until this country has turned into Islamic country.
Oh, Annie, come on, Annie, please. The Muslim population is like, what is the Muslim population in America? I think it's like some small percentage, right? 2%, 5%, some small percentage. Annie, how, Annie? How are we almost there, Annie? Come on, Annie. How are we almost there when we only like 5% of the American population? Same thing in the UK. I don't know how much percentage, but it's nowhere near any almost there to take over. But you know what this is, brothers and sisters? You know what this is? This is like what I said the last show. This is, she's catering, she's trying to appease her white racist audience. Because this is the stuff they believe. They believe this is the stuff that makes them happy. This is the stuff that they want to believe, right? They want to hear stuff like this. They're already paranoid. They already think that the Muslims are invading and the immigrants are invading and Islam is trying to take over. So for her to say this is appealing to that audience. She's appealing to that audience with this kind of garbage right here, right? She's appealing to them with this kind of, oh, this means that we're almost there. No, Annie, we're nowhere near, and that's not even what Muslims are trying to do, Annie. So cut the garbage, Annie. Cut it out. But again, I want you brothers and Muslims to understand that that's what this is. This is just her catering and saying stuff that she knows will get the white racist audience happy and catch their ears and get their attention. Because she already knows. She obviously knows that this is the kind of paranoia that they believe in. They believe in this kind of nonsense that, oh, the Muslims are trying to take over, and oh yeah, see, Obama, he's letting you know that we're almost there. Oh, come on, Annie, really? And you know something was also interesting about this too, is that it's funny how people like her, immigrants from other countries, right? They claim that they left the Middle East because of the lack of freedom, right? Look at the hypocrisy. They claim that they left the Middle East because there's no freedom, right? But yet they want to come here, and then they want to try to get America to be to not offer freedom to everyone. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? So the Middle East is bad and Islam is bad because it doesn't allow freedom according to them. But then you come over here and you want to be a bigot and a racist to Muslims, and you want Muslims to have their rights taken away. But America is supposed to be about freedom. The West is supposed to be about freedom, but you want to turn the West into what you claim the Middle East is. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? You want to turn America and the West into what you claim the Middle East is, which is repressive and oppressive against people. So you want them to be oppressive against Muslims here in America, even though America already says that it allows freedom of religion, freedom of religious expression, but you don't like that. You don't like that, though. You want America to not follow that law, but you came here as an immigrant, claiming you ran away from that and you want freedom. But I guess freedom for everybody else except Muslims, huh? Is that it, Annie? Freedom for everybody except Muslims. Is that it? Wow. These people are something else. All right, let's continue.
The meaning of mosque, always and always, people need to remember the meaning behind the mosque. They're not a place for prayer. No. They The first symbol of it is that the area has been conquered by Sharia. Secondly, a mosque is also used as a Sharia court, meaning if a husband wants to get a fatwa or any judgment on his wife, all he needs to do is walk into the mosque, the local mosque, talk to the imam, and if imam gives the judgment, he's good to go.
Oh, Annie, come on, Annie, stop it. Stop it. By the way, I mean, what she's saying there, not that they can get some kind of fatwa on their wife or anything, but really the mosque is the place for counseling. So not just a wife, a husband, Annie, but a wife can go there too. And believe me, I know because I used to be in the leadership of a mosque. We didn't have any right to do any legal divorce though, right? If a person was legally married, we didn't. The local mosque doesn't have the authority to legally divorce that Muslim couple. If they got married by the state legally, we can't do anything. Nor can we legally marry somebody either, Miss Annie. So you're lying again. But see how she tries to play this game? See? Oh, and notice what she said. Oh, it's not for prayers. Really, Annie? Every masjid is for prayer. They may have they may have an additional community center. Some of them may have a school or something like that. But the most visited activity at the mosque, Annie, is prayer. So I don't know what you're talking about. That it's not there for prayer. And no, it's not a court. And really, in the Islamic court, when you go to Islamic court, you don't go to the masjid for court anyway. If you're in an Islamic country, you go to the Islamic court system where there's a qadi, right? The qadi is a judge who will make rulings based upon whatever the situation, whether it's a criminal case or marriage, divorce case, or whatever the case may be. You go to a qadi. An imam is not necessarily a qadi. He's just the leader of he's the religious leader of the community. He does the prayers and things like that. He can perform marriages and things like that. But usually an Islamic judge, if you want to really take it high, they're the ones who do that. Right? They're the ones who do that. There may be classes at a mosque that teach you how to learn to read the Quran, teach you, Islamic classes about the religion, things like that. But what she's saying, again, she's just trying to scare her white racist audience. That's all she's doing. She's just trying to appease and appeal to the ears of her paranoid and already racist and bigoted white audience. Mostly white. Let's say mostly white audience. Okay? That's all that she's saying. So Annie, come on. You need to cut it out. You need to cut it out, Annie. All right? Anybody who needs help can counseling. A woman can go also. If a woman's having a problem with her husband, she can go to the mosque. If a child is having trouble with their, like a teenager or a child is having problems with their parents, the child can go and seek help and counseling from the imam. If a family is having problems, the family as a whole can seek counseling, Annie. So cut it out. Cut it out with this lying. You're lying to these people, Annie. And anybody who follows her, she's lying to you. She's trying to misinform you. See? And if you're gullible enough, if you're such a bigot that you're not willing to search the truth, then you'll fall for what she's saying. If you're an honest person and you really want the truth, then Annie is misleading you. You don't want to listen to her. You don't want to listen to her. And again, if anybody wants to challenge anything I said, you set up a debate between me and Annie, and I'll put everything I'm saying on the line against her. So if anybody doubts, if you want to claim that, oh, I'm the one that's lying, then you contact Annie and you set up a debate with me and Annie. And I'll go and I'll put it on the line. Everything I'm saying, I'm willing to put it on the line and expose Annie as a liar. If you don't think I'm telling the truth, if you think I'm just saying this to try to cover up something that she's exposing. She's not exposing anything to you. She's not exposing anything to you. She's lying. But see, that's why they listen to these people, because these people are sellouts, right? They're sellouts and they're traitors, and they're trying to, again, cater to their white, bigoted, white racist audience. So they listen to them. They say, oh, well, she must be telling the truth because supposedly she's from the Middle East. She's supposedly a former Muslim. So she must be telling the truth. No, these people are liars. They're just trying to get that money. They're just trying to get that fame and that money. And they know they can count on you because you're gullible. They know that you're filled with your hatred. So anything that sounds good to you, especially coming from a what they call a native informer, then you'll listen to them. Meanwhile, she's leading you astray with her lies and false information. All right, let's continue.
So everybody needs to keep all that information about mosque in mind. Every time you hear there's a new mosque being built, or if you pass by a mosque, these are the meanings behind them. A mosque could mean a real danger to the society.
All right, so as you heard, as you saw there, she's now, you know, talking, oh, it's a real danger to the society. Like I told you last show, this stuff is dangerous, right? Like I told you last show, that kind of stuff like that is what's dangerous, because she's scaring people with her lies and her misinformation by, you know, making them look at Muslims with distrust, by demonizing Muslims. You see, I see people. Exactly, Otto. Exactly, exactly. You know, she wasn't free in her home country, but yeah, yeah. You know, that's it. Yeah, right. Exactly. Connect. Exactly. Exactly, Sammy. Exactly. Exactly. You know. But yeah, that's exactly what's going on. She just wants to, you know, appease and appeal to their fear and their hatred and their bigotry. And that's what a lot of these people do. That's how they make their money. They know that they can appeal to the hatred and bigotry of these people. They know that they'll listen to them because it sounds good and it's already confirming what they already believe. And so, you know, that's what happens. What's this? Oh. Uh, yeah, I did a video about that before, but it wasn't against David Wood. It was against Robert Spencer when he tried to use that verse, saying that it meant something. I forgot where he said that it meant. It was some harsh word too. But I was like, no, ashidda just means to be powerful and strong. But they used some word. It meant ruthless or something like that. I was like, that word doesn't mean to be ruthless. Stop it. But these are the games that they play, brothers and sisters. These are the games that they play. These are the games that they play to try to make it, at whatever way they can try to make it sound harsh or evil. These are the games that they'll play. But you're right. The word ashidda, that's my name, in fact, Shadid. That's my name, Shadid. It comes from that word, right? It doesn't mean to be harsh. It doesn't mean to be ruthless or brutal. It just means strong. Somebody who's strong, man. You know, but this is how they play. Strong or firm. It means to be strong or firm. But that's how they take. They take it and they put their own spin on it. Oh, it means like she did last show. Remember the last show, right? She said, "Oh, takia means it translates as deception." No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't translate as deception. All right. All right, guys. So let's go to her next video now. Let's go to her next video. Okay, we'll load that one up. Her next video was what is Sharia, right? It was what is Sharia. What is Sharia and how it affects one's life in America. All right, now here we go. Yeah, there we go. Right here we go.
They decide to obey.
All right, so let's load that one up next, and we'll go through that one, and we'll break it down one by one, just like we did the last one. Okay, so let's see. All right, bear with me a second as we load it up. Okay, let's see here.
They decide to obey the Constitution and enjoy their.
All right, so here we go. This one,
I'm Anni Cyrus.
This one is what is Sharia and how does it affect one's life in America? All right, so let's keep track, like we did, of the lies and the misinformation. All right. Again, any newcomers to the room, please remember, if you'd like to make a donation, you can make a donation right in the information area. You have the links available there. You can make a contribution through any of those means, either through the website. You can make it directly through my PayPal. If you rather buy one of my products, you can buy my book, How He Never Was God, how Scripture shows Jesus was fully a man and not God. You can buy my DVB, Takia, The Lie They Made Against Islam. Or, like I said, or you can just make a donation. Any one of those will contribute to my work in what we do in refuting and debating in this type of, and, you know, putting out this material, okay? So I just wanted to put that out there very quickly. And, of course, like I said, if you don't have those means, you can always use the super chat. But again, we prefer if you use the links in the information section of this video to make a contribution. We appreciate that. All right, so let's get into this next video of Miss Annie here. All right, you guys ready? Let's take it. So again, this is what is Sharia and how does it affect one's life in America?
Recently, and by recently I mean since the inauguration of President Trump, there is this huge force of empowering Sharia in America. So today,
yeah, let me put as far as the yellow background, you know what? I don't know why it does that. I tried to increase the light, but for some reason I don't know. It has like this yellow hue over everything. So I don't know. I'll have to try to keep tinkering with it. I don't know why it does that. So I'll see if I can adjust that somehow. But yeah, so you gotta excuse me for that. Yeah, I'm not sure about the camera. I don't know. So I have to say maybe I need a new laptop or something. I don't know, but because I very rarely use that. This is my first time actually starting to even use the camera on this. I've never really used it. You know what I mean? I've never really used the camera on this laptop until now, actually. So I don't know if I have to adjust adjust something, but yeah, that's the thing about the yellowness. I don't know. All right. Okay. But here we go. Let's get into the video. Everybody ready? Here we go.
Because you asked, I will be answering the question, what is Sharia and how does it affect one's life in America? In simple terms, Sharia is the simplest confusion for the West. And the reason for that is 99% of people who were born or grew up in the West are familiar with what's known as freedom and certain law and order. However,
yeah, let me stop right there. Okay. See now this is another thing about foreigners that foreigners like her that come here and they talk this freedom crap. Annie, when you say people grew up in the West and we know freedom, tell that to Black Americans. Tell that to Black Americans, Annie. Tell that to the Aborigines in Australia, Annie. Tell that to people, the Indian, the Native American people in South America, Annie. Tell them if they know being born in the West, if they know about freedom, Annie. Okay? In fact, hell, ask the people now, Annie, when you talk about freedom. Okay? No, what you have in the West, just like any place, is permission. Let's make that clear, everybody, all right? You have permission to do things, not freedom, because freedom means what? If you look at the word literally, freedom means that you have no limitations or restrictions. Is that the case in any place on this earth? No. Here in growing up in America, there's no freedom. There is permission. If I want to drive a car, I have to get a license. I can't just say, you know what? I know I can drive. Let me drive my car. I'm just going to get a car and drive. No, you need to get permission to drive by having to get a license. If you get caught and you do not have a driver's license, you will be in trouble, Annie. If I want to start a business, Annie, right? If I want to start a business, Annie, can I just start a business? No, you got to get a business license, Annie. That is what? That means I have permission to start a business. I don't have the freedom to start a business. I have permission. They're giving me permission. Because if I had freedom, I would just say, you know what? I'm going to start a business and just do it. Right? No business license, no nothing. So no, I can't do that. You need permission to do that, which means what? You have a restriction. Right? If you want to sell cars, once again, you need permission. You need a license. Can you park anywhere? Some places are free to park. Some places you can park. Then there are other places where you have to pay to park. Why? Because it's not freedom. You have to pay for the parking. And if you park then, and if you decide that you have freedom, and you say, you know what, I'm going to park here anyway and not pay, you will get a penalty, Annie. You will get a penalty. Either your car will get towed away, or they'll put a ticket on it, and now you have to pay a penalty. Why? Because you didn't have the freedom to do what you want to do, Annie. In fact, if you want to hunt, right? Hunting is human beings' oldest way of getting food, right? So if you want to hunt, can I just hunt? Can I just go in the forest and hunt and shoot a deer? No. You have to get a hunting license or a hunting permit. You can't just say, you know what? I don't feel like going to the supermarket. I want some meat. I'm just going to go into the forest and shoot a deer. No, you can't do that. You need permission. You need to get a license to hunt or a permit to hunt. How about fishing? How about fishing? You know what? I just want to fish. I'm not going to the fish market. I'm going to get my own fish, but I having to pay money. No, you can't do that. You need a fishing permit. So stop it, Annie, with this freedom garbage. Okay? There's no place on this earth that I know of that gives anybody what we call freedom, meaning you are unrestricted to do whatever you want. No place on earth has that. Every place on earth has laws, rules, and restrictions and limitations on what persons can do. So cut that out, Annie. Cut this, these people with this, they just so ignorant when they come here talking that stuff. All right? Let's continue.
Islam, there are actual certain rules that you have to live by.
Isn't that everywhere? I just said that, right? Isn't that everywhere? Isn't there every place that has certain rules you have to live by? Right? Name a place on this earth that doesn't have certain rules that you'd have to live by. You see how hypocritical they are? See how hypocritical they are, right? And the double standards and double talk that they have. Every place has certain rules and laws that you have to live by, Annie. All right, let's continue.
They're not just majority or general rules. They're actually some very detailed, specific, daily basis rules. And those...
Okay, again, every place has that as well. Let's see, for example, I want to go out and drive my car. It's everyday basic rules. I have to use the traffic laws, right? I can't just say, you know what, I'm going to drive fast as I want. I can't just say, you know what, I'm going to ignore the stop sign. Although those things can get you, even if you don't obey them, you could crash or whatever. But still, right, these are laws that were made up. People had to make these laws up, and you have to follow them. These are everyday laws and rules that we follow. Every day when I go out driving, I follow those laws and those rules, right? Here in the United States, this is what we call tax season. Every year, everybody has to get their taxes prepared and ready. Every year, I got to get my taxes and do my taxes and pay my taxes or whatever, right? Something that we live by every year, Annie. So what in the hell is she talking about? All right, let's continue.
Those rules are called Sharia, in translation to English, Islamic laws. Sharia is basically built of Quran and its verses, Hadith, which are the stories told over the 1400 years about Muhammad and other leaders of Islam. And also part Sunnah, which is the actual guidebook to Muhammad's daily life while he was the prophet of Islam. So putting all those three together makes Sharia. And it is mandatory for every Muslim of any type or from any country to follow Sharia with their daily life. As I said, the reason it's a little confusing for people of the West is because here in the West, especially in America, nobody dictates our daily life.
Okay, let's deal with that. Number one, Annie, you're wrong. Yes, there are people who dictate our daily lives. It's called the government. It's called the Congress. It's called the House of Representatives. These are the people who almost on a daily basis, and also in your local country, your local state. You have your state governing body as well. You have your state governor, right? You have the local state, district leaders and state leaders and state representatives and all of that who also govern your state. So you have people who govern our country, who make laws on a daily basis, and also people who govern your state and your local city. All these different levels of people who are dictating your life for you, Annie, and us. So I don't know what you're talking about. That, oh, here in the West, you act like we don't have any laws over here. You act like we don't have people here that make laws for us. Now, her argument may be that, oh, well, those are not religious laws. What's the difference? There's still people making laws deciding what you can and cannot do, Annie. Whether they're religious or not, what's the difference? There's still laws, right? There's still laws that you got to follow. Even if they're not religious laws, there's still laws that you got to follow. And if you violate them, you can get punished just the same. Isn't that funny? You can get punished just the same. Whether you think it's a law from God or not, you can still get punished. So, okay, so in this case, you'll get punished by man-made laws. What's the difference? In the sense that either one of them, you can get punished, right? Either one of them, you can get punished. Whether you think it's a religious law, you can get punished. Whether you think it's a man-made law, you can get punished if you decide to violate it. Or you pay some type of penalty, whether man made it or people believe it's a God law. So these arguments like this are just so fallacious and phony.
We don't have to follow certain rules. We do have freedom based on our Constitution.
And the Constitution is some of the laws, Annie, that the law's telling you what you can and cannot do, Annie. You see, that's why some of these ignorant, hater farm immigrants need to just shut up, because you come over here and you act like you know what this country is about, but you're just talking garbage. You're talking garbage. The Constitution doesn't say you have freedom to do what you want. The Constitution is what provides laws and amendments to those laws. It's still telling you what you can and cannot do, Annie. I'll give you an example. Everybody. For example, in this country, United States, there was a time when slavery was permitted, right? Slavery was permitted. In fact, there were people who wanted to keep having slaves in this country, Annie. So a civil war was fought, right? Because the people who wanted to keep slaves and had a conflict with the northern states here in the United States over some representative issues and state laws and state rights and all these different types of things like this. So after the South was defeated, a new law was made called the 13th Amendment that abolished slavery. So the states that wanted to have, and people who wanted to have slaves no longer had the freedom to have slaves, Annie, except when a person is put in prison, which is in fact still a law. So any prisoner in the United States can be made a slave. People don't know that, right? But the point I'm showing is that the Constitution does not say you have the freedom to do whatever you want. It is laws. The Constitution has laws in it. So the 13th Amendment to the Constitution said slavery has been abolished except when a person is made a prisoner. So all those people who wanted to continue having slaves, Annie, could no longer practice the freedom or the permission to have slaves, Annie. So you speak of the Constitution as if the Constitution is a document that says you have the freedom to do what you want to do, the end. No, it is laws, Annie, that you can and cannot do. Annie. All right, let's continue.
Now, how could Sharia affect one's life in America? It could create what I call a conflict of interest. As a Muslim, if you decide to follow Sharia, you would have a very limited life. Because in Sharia, there are details all the way from how to walk into your bathroom, amazingly.
Let's deal with that. Wrong, Annie. Wrong. How you walk into the bathroom or whatever is more so like a sunnah. It's not a Sharia law requirement, right? That's not a Sharia law requirement. Sharia law deals mostly with the laws, things that are actual laws, right? Things that are laws in Islam. It deals with the inheritance, marriage, divorce, criminal punishments, and things of this nature, Annie. That's what Sharia, that what you're talking about, how you enter the bathroom and all that, that's more of religious, ritualistic things where it's not necessarily a law that you have to do. That if you don't enter a bathroom a certain way, there's no, no punishment that's prescribed for that, Annie. So you're wrong, Annie. Sharia deals with things that have necessitate a legal matter, such as I said, criminal activity and punishments and judgments for criminal activity, for inheritance, division laws, marriage or divorce. This is what Sharia law deals with mostly. That kind of stuff like that, that's more of ritualistic things And some of those things, they're not necessarily Sharia law in the sense that they mandate a necessity to, if a person enters the bathroom a certain way and they have to go, before a judge or something like that. So, again, she's showing her ignorance in this video as she has done in the other videos thus far.
All the way to how successfully finish your term of life, meaning how to die.
I don't know if she's talking about what she's talking about, how to die. You die however you die. If you die from a disease, you die. If you die of old age, you die. If you die from a heart attack, you die. If you die getting killed, you die. There's no certain way to die. You just die. However you die is how you're gonna die. So I don't know what in the world this woman is talking about. Now the only way Sharia would apply in your death is the burial. But even again, the burial and all of that and the funeral, those are more religious, ritualistic things rather than Sharia law, right? Those are more religious, ritualistic things. How you have the funeral, the prayers at the funeral and all that kind of stuff, the burial, all that. Those are more so, religious, ritualistic things. Where Sharia deals with the laws that deal with governance, economics, again, crime and punishment, divorce and marriage and inheritance and, this type of thing. Okay.
Because of those limitations.
So, she's trying to say that, oh, your life will be limited. But not really. I've been in America. I became a Muslim when I was about 19 years old. And alhamdulillah, I don't have any, not in the sense where I feel like I'm uncomfortable with any limitations that, plus any as a Muslim living here, really, we're not under Sharia law in that sense where, like, if you do violate some of the Islamic tenets, you can be taken before an Islamic judge. So what is she talking about? Since her video is about how it affects your life in America, it really doesn't affect you too much. Any Sharia law that Muslims are under in America are self-imposed, right? Are self-imposed Sharia law. So when I do my prayers, nobody's going to tell me to do my prayers, right? Nobody can make me do my prayers. I mean, you can't make a Muslim do that even under Sharia law. But if I make my prayers or don't make my prayers, nobody can punish me for that. You can't bring me before a judge for that. You can't take me and make me go to the masjid to pray or whatever the case may be, right? Eating pork, I self-impose that upon myself because of my faith. So I stay away from eating pork. Drinking alcohol and things like that. Again, we Muslims who live in Western countries, we have to self-discipline ourselves to stay away from these things, right? Because it's available, right? If I wanted to go to the store and get some alcohol right now, I could do that. Who's gonna stop me? Who's gonna stop me? And if somebody saw me, and if a Muslim saw me or caught me, who's gonna punish me? There's no way for them to punish me. They can't take me to an Islamic court. So Annie, hush your mouth with this nonsense you're talking. Any limitation that a Muslim has or puts upon themselves, restriction that they put upon themselves, is self-imposed. I keep myself from eating pork living here in America. I keep myself from drinking alcohol living here in America. Right? So anything that a Muslim does in that sense, they do it themselves because there's no one to enforce any law upon them here. So you're claiming that, oh, again, she's trying to appeal to her bigoted audience by saying, oh, their life will be restricted. They can't have. Please, I done been to amusement parks and Muslims are there. Sisters in hijab at the amusement park getting on the roller coasters. Been at movie theaters. Been at the mall. I mean, these people are just garbage, man. They just talking a bunch of nonsense, but they're trying to appeal to their bigoted audience. That's what she's trying to do. She's trying to appeal to her bigoted audience by saying stuff like this. Let's continue.
In a strict guidance for someone who lives in America to follow Sharia, they would have no choice but to stop enjoying their freedoms and also start.
Stop enjoying what freedoms, Annie? Why? What is she talking about? Stop enjoying what freedoms? I've been enjoying my so-called permission since I've been in America as a Muslim, and I wasn't even born Muslim, right? I wasn't raised as a Muslim, but when I became a Muslim, what changed for me? What changed? I mean, and even before Muslim, like before I became Muslim, I wasn't really a drinker of alcohol anyway. Right? I was already learning that pork was unhealthy to eat. Even before I became Muslim, I was already learning that pork was unhealthy to eat. So what is she talking about restrictions? You're gonna, like you're free. What freedoms? Freedom of what? Freedom of speech? Well, a Muslim can still enjoy that here, right? Freedom of the press, a Muslim, there's no restrictions. A Muslim can be a journalist. A Muslim can be a journalist and write their journalistic skills or whatever. So what is she talking about? A Muslim can have a Muslim wedding. Some Muslims go to the state and get married. I've seen that too, right? Or they do both. They have a Muslim wedding and then they also go to the state and get legally married according to the state, but they still perform their Muslim marriage. Same with divorce. If they got married legally, they may get the Islamic divorce, right? And they also get the legal divorce. So really, there's not too much thing that she can say other than the alcohol, the pork, other than that, like what really could she be talking about? Let's continue.
Disobeying the Constitution of America, or if they decide to obey the Constitution and enjoy their freedom, that they would have no choice but to stop following Sharia.
First of all, what really in the Constitution is in conflict with the Sharia? What in the Constitution is really in conflict with the Sharia law? For her to even be making these stupid claims like this. She's making it seem like, oh, if you obey one or the other, you're going to be in conflict. No, not really. No, not really. Sure, the Constitution doesn't stop me from getting married Islamically. Constitution doesn't stop me from dividing up my property according to the Quran, right? I can divide up my inheritance according to the Quran under the Constitution. A Muslim woman can wear hijab according to the Constitution and according to Islam. So what is she talking about? That if you like you got to pick and choose. If you follow one, it's going to violate the other. No. Under Sharia law, murder is prohibited, just like it is under the Constitution. Stealing is prohibited in the Sharia and in the Constitution. So what exactly is she talking about? Right? What exactly is she talking? She doesn't know what she's talking about. That's basically what it comes down to. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
Which would make them a non-devoted Muslim. So most of the people in America who come here from other countries who were raised as Muslim always have that conflict. And the hard part is where they need to find a common ground, which is almost impossible to find, to assimilate into.
That's a lie. Again, this is a lie that is almost impossible. It's not impossible at all, Annie. Many Muslims have done it and continue to do so, whether they came from other countries or whether they're born here. You know what's interesting too that I see is that you may have heard this a lot. A lot of times Muslims from other countries actually say that Muslims that are born in America or in the UK or whatever, a lot of times I hear them give praise to the converts saying, wow, you practice Islam better than we do. A lot of them say that. I've heard that many years of me being a Muslim and from immigrant Muslims saying, wow, you Muslims here in America who are, who weren't raised Muslims, you practice Islam a lot of times better than us. And yet we still enjoy the freedoms, the so-called freedoms and permissions that the Constitution of America gives us, or that the UK gives you. You know why? Because there's really no conflict, Annie. You're just talking simple-minded bigotry. That's all. You're just talking nonsense to appease your bigoted fan base. The reality is that no, there isn't a conflict. In fact, like I said, many of the Muslims who come from other countries, they give praise to Muslims who are raised in America or born in America and convert to Islam by saying, hey, you practice Islam better than us, because they see that we can do it. Many times, unfortunately, a lot of the immigrant brothers and sisters, not all, but many, are very lax in their practice of Islam. It's usually us who were born here who seem to exhibit, a more fervent practice of Islam. And again, the immigrant Muslims say that. They say that. So Annie, you're talking complete nonsense. You're talking complete nonsense, Annie. Because usually when I see there's no conflict at all because they're not even trying to practice Islam. Usually it's us who are the converts or the reverts or the people born here in America who were raised Muslim or whatever. Usually we're the ones calling out our brothers and sisters from overseas in their laxity or laity in practicing in their practice. I give you an example of that. A lot of times you have some Muslims who from other countries who open stores here in the United States, and they do all kind of things that are not, in line with Islam by selling pork, liquor, lottery, gambling, and all these different things like that in their stores. And yet they tell you that they're Muslims. So really, a lot of times it's not a conflict at all because some of them don't even attempt to practice Islam at all. Yet the people who are born in America, raised in America, and become Muslim see no problem and no conflict at all in practicing Islam and still obeying the Constitution, Annie. So you need to cut it out.
To American lifestyle and still be a devoted Muslim. This conflict has been going on, unfortunately, for over 1,000 years, and
Annie, America is not 1,000 years old for it to be happening for 1,000 years, Annie. You see what I'm saying, everybody? You see the stupidity? Annie, how could it be happening for thousands of years? America is not even 1,000 years. America is not even 500 years old yet, Annie. America is not even 500 years old yet, Annie. So what in the hell are you talking about? It's been going on for 1,000 years. Okay, Annie? Even in Europe and stuff like that, it hasn't been going on for 1,000 years or so, Annie. Because after the Moors got pushed out of Spain and Europe, then they were pretty much in Africa and the Middle East. So to say that it's been going on for 1,000 years, this conflict with Western laws is a complete lie, Annie. It's a complete you're showing you're ignorant, and maybe that's why I haven't seen any recent stuff from you, because people must have realized, you know what, this lady she's an airhead. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She's gonna get us embarrassed. She's gonna get us embarrassed if we keep putting her in front. All right, complete nonsense, Annie.
Personally, my personal opinion, I don't think there's an easy solution to it. However,
well, in my opinion, Annie, it is an easy solution, and I've been doing it, and many other Muslims who are born here have been doing it for a long time, Annie, without any problem. So I know you're trying to appease your bigoted white racist audience. We know that. We see that. But the reality is that what you're saying is a complete nonsense. You could speak to many Muslims who are born here who were not raised as Muslims. So they knew the so-called freedoms that you talk about, and yet were able to still become Muslim and still live comfortably and enjoy their lives here in America or in the UK or whatever other Western country or Canada or whatever. So, again, like I said, I know that your bigoted audience likes that and it may sound good to them, but the reality is that you're misleading them and you really don't know what you're talking about.
I hope this answered the question of what is Sharia, because I do know many people in the West are very confused by the difference between.
And you know what? Yeah, you're confusing them, or rather, you're not confusing. You're misleading them with your lies and misinformation like this. This is what misleads them, because they hear you lying, and then when they speak to a real Muslim who actually knows the Deen, they see that you lied or you don't know what you're talking about, Annie. So that's the reality. That's the reality of the situation right there.
Between Islam and Sharia. They are two different things. Islam is the Quran, holy book of Islam. And then there's Sharia, which is Islamic rule. I already explained the three parts of it. However, one cannot exist without the other one. So they're chained, they're linked, but they're two different things. Thank you, Jennifer, for the question.
All right, so enough with Annie. Enough with Miss Annie. All right, so there we have it, brothers and sisters. Another refutation of Miss Anni Cyrus and her horrible scholarship, so-called, if we can even call it that. Can we even call it that? Can we even call it scholarship? I don't think so. You know, I don't even think we can call that scholarship. You know, she just doesn't know what she's talking about. All right. So there we have it. Another refutation of Miss Anni Cyrus. Next show on Friday, inshallah. I see some people have been mentioning David Wood, so we'll go ahead and check out and see what David Wood has, and we'll go back to dealing with some David Wood, another David Wood refutation, inshallah. All right. So with that said, does anybody have any questions? Any questions that you wanna deal with? Anything? No questions? All right. All right. So if we don't have any questions, then inshallah we'll get ready to close it out. Again, as I always do, just a last reminder. We'd appreciate if anybody wants to donate. Once again, you can donate in using any of the links in the information section of the video. You can again donate through the website. You can donate through PayPal. If you prefer purchasing one of our items and contributing that way, you can purchase our book, He Was Never God, How Scripture Shows Jesus Was Fully a Man and Not God. You can also get our DVD, Taqiyya, The Lie They Made Against Islam. Any one of those is a way to contribute to our efforts in doing dawah and doing our refutations and doing our work in refuting and dealing with these people on your behalf. All right. So I greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate you all tuning in. And again, as I always say after every show, I can't see who made the donations until the end of the show. So I thank you ahead of time. If you have made a donation, I thank you. I ask Allah to reward you, and I greatly appreciate it. And again, like I said, as soon as the show is over, I always go check and see. So again, if I can't thank you during the show, but if you did make a donation, I want to go ahead and thank you ahead of time, whoever did. Thank you, and may Allah reward you. All right, so with that being said, we'll go ahead and close it out. And I'll see you guys, inshallah, for the next show on Friday. All right, so before I go one more time, anybody have anything to say? Any last questions or statements or anything? I don't know yet. Inshallah, I'm gonna see what we have from. I'm gonna look up some of the David Wood videos and see what he has that we can address. You know, what we pick out one of his videos and see what we can address. So I'll let you guys know tomorrow or early in the day on Friday. Okay. So again, you have a good night. And again, if anybody donated, thank you. May Allah reward you, and I greatly appreciate it. You guys have a good night or good morning. Assalamu alaikum.